All right, let's get into the news of the day there with Business Editor Ross Greenwood. I want to get his take on the RBA's decision this afternoon to lift the official cash rate. It went up by 50 basis points, up to 1.85. That's a big jump. Ross Greenwood, welcome. Fourth consecutive rate rise since May. I'm keen on two parts here. How's it played out in terms of market predictions? What's been the impact on the ASX? But also, how do you see this for households? People say, you know, they can absorb one or two of these rate rises. We've got four, and we're told more are on the way.
And there's a few more on the way. There's no doubt between now and the end of the year, there's probably at least another 1 percentage point of interest rate rises to come. It might pull up around about 2.5, but you get a sense it's probably going to end up, as most of the major banks have got it now, at 2.85%. So you can see here, and remember the emergency lows of 0.1%, and that's when you get a mortgage at 1% without any problems. Now at 1.85%, the cash rate, you're not really going to be able to get a mortgage for under 3%. And by the time they're finished, you're going to be struggling to get a mortgage for under 5%. So, you know, this is the reality of where Australia sits right now. There are significant costs. There is a little bit of a silver lining here today. The Reserve Bank indicated that it's actually not, if you like, taking a cookie-cutter approach to just raising interest rates. It's going to do so according to the information it's seeing. There are some signs of inflation actually waning. The price of timber, the price of copper, the price of oil, so therefore petrol, is actually coming down. Some foods are also starting to come down in price. You saw one of the first shipments of wheat going out of Ukraine. That's actually a positive sign in regards to maybe the future of food prices. So, you know, if these things were to start to come down in price, there could be an argument, that's what money markets are saying right now, that you won't see as aggressive rate rises from central banks around the world, including our Reserve Bank. And that's the reason why 2:30 Eastern Time today, when this rate decision came down with that statement, you suddenly saw that the dollar fell, the stock market took off, money market interest rates fell. And this is the quote. The board places a high priority on return inflation to 2 to 3% over time while keeping the economy in an even keel. The path to achieve this balance is a narrow one. So what they're also warning there is the danger of having to push these rates up so fast that maybe they eventually, if they get it wrong, tip the economy off the edge. That's the worry for most Australians right now.
What about the calls today from senior economists saying that Phil Lowe, he's the governor of the RBA, and fellow board directors, they need to resign? The handling of monetary policy has been woeful. Talk of continued rate rises will push us into recession, they say. We know the Treasurer has announced a review into the operations and the composition and other things of the RBA. But should Lowe go? And how real is this talk of a recession?
Look, I think that the talk of the recession is probably not right for Australia unless something seriously goes wrong, you know, over the course of the next 6 months overseas, because it won't be a domestically brought recession. It will be really something that comes in from overseas, a shock of some sort, or indeed just simply that the economic situation in America in particular gets so bad. In regards to Phil Lowe and the Reserve Bank Board's performance, quite clearly leading into the pandemic, it had been woeful because they had not bent their inflation targets for almost a decade. And that was seen to be a poor thing. Now, of course, they'd said that interest rates would not rise until 2024. A lot of people borrowed money, took debts out as a consequence. That's the issue that they really have got to answer. It may have been a prediction, but it was a very poor prediction. His term ends in September next year. You do not expect Jim Chalmers to have it continued after that, I would imagine.
I think you're absolutely spot on there. Ross Greenwood, thank you.